Shit. Can I, like, change that? I think I can. Oh god, they make it a big pain in the ass. I have to go like change it on YouTube. Can't do it in the broadcast software itself. Well, in any case, hello. Hi YouTube. How we doing? There it is. Edit title and description. We are on the 14th. Much better. Now we're good. Okay, let's get going. There we are. Now, I know I have some stuff tagged here first. That's all yesterday. She. Okay, we'll start out with that.
The whole world is watching our meeting. Currently, transformation not seen in a century is accelerating across the globe, and the international situation is fluid and turbulent. The world has come to a new crossroads. Can China and the United States overcome the Thucydides trap and create a new paradigm of major country relations? Can we meet global challenges together and provide more stability for the world? Can we, in the interests of the well-being of our two peoples and the future of humanity, build a brighter future together for our bilateral relations? These are the questions vital to history, to the world, and to the people. They are the questions of our times that you and I need to answer as leaders of major countries. This year,
I want to thank you very much.
Now Trump.
Well, President Xi, I want to thank you very much. First of all, that was an honor like few have ever seen before. And I think I was particularly impressed by those children. They were happy. They were beautiful. The military is obvious.
It was such a bizarre scene with the kids. I saw that.
It couldn't be better, but those children were amazing, and they represent so much. And I know they represent so much to you. You and I have known each other now for a long time. In fact, the longest relationship of our two countries that any president and president has had. And that's, to me, an honor. We've had a fantastic relationship. We've gotten along. When there were difficulties, we worked it out. I would call you, and you would call me, and whenever we had a problem, people don't know, whenever we had a problem, we worked it out very quickly. We're going to have a fantastic future together. Such respect for China, the job you've done. You're a great leader. I say it to everybody, you're a great leader. Sometimes people don't like me saying it, but I say it anyway because it's true. I only say the truth. And I just want to say on behalf of all of the great delegation that we have the greatest businessmen, the biggest, and I guess the best in the world. We have amazing people, and they're all with me. Every single one of them, we asked the top 30 in the world, every single one of them said yes. And I didn't want the second or the third in the company. I wanted only the top. And they're here today to pay respects to you and to China. And they look forward to trade and doing business, and it's going to be totally reciprocal on our behalf. So I really look very much forward to our discussion. It's a big discussion. There are those that say this is maybe the biggest summit ever. They can never remember anything like it. I can say in the United States, people aren't talking about anything else. But it's an honor to be with you. It's an honor to be your friend. And the relationship between China and the USA is going to be better than ever before. Thank you very much. Thank you.
clashes between the secret.
Apparently, clashes going on between Secret Service and the Chinese.
Been some heated and physical clashes between the Secret Service and the Chinese police on basically at the back doors of these events, including one very physical standoff where a Secret Service officer was being prevented from taking his weapon in as part of the protective detail. But things have all been ironed out, and as far as we know, the schedule has not been changed because of that. Martha.
Yeah, well, it's a tense meeting. I think that is that's pretty clear. Peter, thank you very much.
Been some heated and physical clashes between.
Well, shit. Yikes. Oh, yeah, that wacko.
Since his friendship with
What's her name? The woman who falsely accused Trump of raping her at the age of 13, with the assistance of Jeffrey Epstein, is now facing criminal charges for fraud, theft, and the exploitation of an elderly person. What's her name again? Sarah Ransom?
same woman. Quote, her implication of Trump makes
That her?
little sense since his friendship with Epstein began later in that decade. Cherry on top, she faced criminal charges for fraud, theft, and exploitation of an elderly person.
It's nice. Oh, this is a fascinating video. We gotta come back to that. It's really good. Oh, it looks like XAI is finally releasing their coding software. Slowly. Only to the people who have a $300 a month subscription. Ugh. Ugh. Let me know when it filters down to the poorest, thanks. Interesting. Pretty standard, though. Okay, that's it. Just AI stuff. All right. On to the pile. Oh yeah, we got a lot to look at today. Very good. Whee! Okay. We'll just pick it up somewhere in here. There we go.
The bilat has wrapped now. It did go longer than expected. Read that however you may, but there was a lot on the agenda. And quite frankly, there was a large delegation that the president showed up with. We do know that there were some of these business leaders that were seen
quite a big one
leaving earlier on in the meeting. So the president, I guess, fulfilled his promise when he true socialed on his way to Beijing that he would make that ask, that first ask to Xi, that he open up China to these business leaders, these 16 CEOs, tech and business CEOs that he's brought with him, including the Nvidia CEO, a big chip maker.
Did she just say?
Including the Nvidia.
She just called it Nvidia.
CEO.
Nvidia.
A big chip maker for AI models. He's also Apple's Tim Cook and Elon Musk, part of
it was a nice try.
That delegation. So that was handled at the beginning of this bilat, and then potentially the second half of it may have involved his cabinet secretaries. Remember, he brought really important cabinet secretaries, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, potentially to talk about Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, as well as the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, who has been very interested in the talks about Taiwan and the Taiwan policy, what happens with that, the way that China feels about Taiwan. We do have that. Of War, Pete Hegseth, interested in the talks about Taiwan and the Taiwan policy, what happens with that, the way that China feels about Taiwan.
Probably going to be the biggest thing to come out of this whole thing.
We do have that statement out from the Chinese already, as Jack mentioned, in which they say that the Chinese president Xi told Trump that trade wars have no winners, that trade teams, both sides of the trade teams produce, quote, generally balanced and positive outcomes. We don't know exactly what that means. We don't know
Very Chinese.
how the Chinese are reading that. We don't know what the U.S. side has to say about that yet. We don't have a readout from our side just yet.
Well, mum's the word for now, I guess. Crazy Chinese guys.
Maybe we'll just let people take this in for a second. This is the moment.
He's not backing down. Trump's known far and wide for that. That handshake. Fat ass Americans are not used to this shit. Freaking Asian press is insane. Like you see it with North Korea and China, just like they're like running full sprint back and forth between all their different positions and carrying 30 freaking cameras each. Oh, no, we don't do it like that in fat ass America, my friends.
I can't help it but being in the news business as we are.
Nope. Oh, here's the kids. Oh, where's me pop-out chat? I need that. Come here. Whee! That's better. Get to the kids going crazy. Oh, well, this is before Trump and Xi walk up, I guess. Oh, there they are. Some enthusiastic children. Must have earned their bowl of rice for the day. Extra rations for you. Sorry, that was mean. They look well fed. With propaganda. Impressive though, isn't it? They're what do you call it? Red Square. Really is something. They know how to put on a show. Case in point. Excellent marchers. They see, look at, they got it all down, man. I'm sad to admit, have fallen behind in this respect. I mean, look at this. The choreography and the camera work too. Camera choreography as well. Excellent. Very impressive. And the backdrop sure don't hurt, does it? Look it, they got it on a jib, like, frick. They know how to do it, man. Like, mildly jealous here. I wish that we would do this. Still. We could. Of course, the expense would be massive. They got it down, man. They got, I mean, I'm like sitting right in the way here, but shoot, they have it down pat. Every aspect of it just dialed in. All the same height. Well, I guess my bot just picked back up. Actually forgot he was in the background working. Okay. Yeah, must have done that like an hour ago. Okay, give me a second. We gotta shut him up. Mute. True. Save. Good. Oh, wow. Ooh, fanning that. Wow. Fancy. I mean, they all look like I could probably snap them like a twig, but at least they march pretty. Oh, well, you can like almost hear him. What's he saying? Can't make it out. Got their two translators there. There's Rubio, Besant, Hegseth, and Stephen Miller. And the rest of the crew.
Sorry, sir, you cannot film now. You cannot film now after the two credit comes. Okay.
Oh! Rubio's very impressed with the room. I'm with him. It's a pretty impressive room. Not a bad meeting spot. Get the fuck out of here. Why are you still talking? I shut you up. Didn't I? Come now. Save. Okay, there we go.
Please put on the earpiece for the simultaneous interpretation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, that was an honor like few have ever seen before. And I think I was particularly impressed by those children. They were happy. They were beautiful. The military is obvious. It couldn't be better, but those children were amazing, and they represent so much. And I know they represent so much to you. You and I have known each other now for a long time. In fact, the longest relationship of our two countries that any president has had. And that's, to me, an honor.
Very honored.
Countries that any president has had. And that's, to me, an honor. We've had a fantastic relationship. We've gotten along. When there were difficulties, we worked it out. I would call you, and you would call me. And whenever we had a problem, people don't know, whenever we had a problem, we worked it out very quickly. And we're going to have a fantastic future together. Such respect for China, the job you've done. You're a great leader. I say it to everybody. You're a great leader. Sometimes people don't like me saying it, but I say it anyway because it's true. I always say the truth. And I just want to say, on behalf of all of the great delegation that we have the greatest businessmen, the biggest, I guess the best in the world. We have amazing people, and they're all with me. They have reciprocal on our behalf. So I really look very much forward to our discussion. It's a big discussion. There are those that say this is maybe the biggest summit ever.
Some would say maybe the biggest discussion ever. It's so Trumpy. I love it.
Reciprocal on our behalf.
I think we already watched that whole opening statement, so we'll keep going. But okay.
People aren't talking about anything.
Oh, there's sound I can actually hear.
Never remember anything like it. I can say in the United States, people aren't talking about anything else. But it's an honor to be with you. It's an honor to be your friend. And the relationship between China and the USA is going to be better than ever before. Thank you very much. Thank you. Never remember anything like it. I can say in the United States, people aren't.
Quite a smile on his face.
Great.
Did you talk about Taiwan?
Great place. Incredible. China's beautiful.
Pooh Bear. Oh, Elon's got his little one there. Kid's adorable.
That's a really big hole. That's a really big hole.
It is.
At the Great Hall of the People. Many members of his administration already in the room. So far, we've seen Stephen Miller, Pete Hegseth, Scott Bessent, and as the camera pulls out, we will certainly see more. Let's circle back to what Cheryl Casoni was talking about earlier. These Nvidia chips, second most powerful Nvidia chips, going to be sold to 10 Chinese firms. Is this a good idea, Eric?
Well, I don't think President Trump thinks it's a bad idea. Otherwise, he wouldn't let Jensen Huang get on the plane in Alaska. This is obviously something that's happening with the implicit...
They're getting them one way or another. Can tell you that much.
Understanding and permission.
President Trump's arrival at the Great Hall of the People. Many members of his administration already in the room. So far, we've seen Stephen Miller, Pete Hegseth, Scott Bessent, and as the camera pulls out, we will certainly see more. Let's circle back to what Cheryl Casoni was talking about earlier. These Nvidia chips, second most powerful Nvidia.
So which one? Hold on. Which ones are they getting? H200
chips. Going to be sold to 10 Chinese firms.
I assume. Ah, yes, Tim Cook's in his sunset hours, off on a jaunt to China. That's what the f... Wait, who's this? Is that Jensen? Some other Chinese guy. Dude, everyone wants pictures with him. It's bizarre. Look at this. Oh my gosh, like... He's got to make dumb faces for everyone, too. It must be so obnoxious. Wins for Trump. Let's see.
We just got a readout from the White House on this big bilateral meeting between the two presidents. So I'll read a couple of notes that I've taken away from this statement. They talked about expanding market access for American businesses into China. Remember, the president brought this delegation of 16 CEOs from different business and tech backgrounds. They also talked about wanting more progress on stopping the flow of fentanyl. That's something the president brought up. Now, the Chinese purchases of American agricultural products was also something that was brought up in these discussions. And President Xi expressed interest in purchasing more American oil to reduce China's dependence on the strait in the future. That's a really big takeaway. So we're going to focus on that as well. Also, both countries agree that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. And after reading through this readout, there was really nothing in there that said that China was going to help pressure Iran in any way to ending the conflict. We were wondering if that was going to come up. It has been an incredibly busy day for the president, touring around all over Beijing. The president began his day with a visit to the Great Hall of People at the heart of the city, where he was greeted by President Xi. The delegation heard the national anthem along with a 21-gun salute, and the two leaders then had a bilateral meeting, and the president commented on his relationship with Xi. Watch.
You and I have known each other now for a long time. In fact, the longest relationship of our two countries that any president and president has had. And
interesting.
That's, to me, an honor. We've had a fantastic relationship. We've gotten along. When there were difficulties, we worked it out. I would call you and you would call me, and whenever we had a problem, people don't know, whenever we had a problem, we worked that out very quickly. We're going to have a fantastic future together.
So once the bilateral was over, we actually got several statements from the Chinese side almost immediately. This is a not so thinly veiled warning from the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokeswoman on Taiwan, the issue of Taiwan, which, by the way, gets a ton of its defense weapons from the U.S.
Yeah, what do they have to say on that?
And this is what she wrote. President Xi stressed to President Trump that the Taiwan question is the most important issue in China-U.S. relations. If it is
handled properly,
the bilateral relationship will enjoy overall stability. Now, here's the moment a reporter shouts a question at the two leaders about Taiwan, and watch what happens next.
Nice.
It's great.
It's great.
Great place. Incredible. China's beautiful.
Nothing.
Yeah, neither wanted to say anything about it. Meanwhile, Iran looming in the background as a report overnight indicates that Iran may have taken a vessel near the Strait of Hormuz. While President Trump says he does not need Xi's help in ending the conflict, administration officials did go into this bilat saying that they were hoping to see China play a role, considering that it buys the largest amount of Iranian crude.
We've made the argument to the Chinese, and I hope it's compelling. The Chinese have ships stuck in the Persian Gulf because setting up a system that says we're going to let certain ships through but others not, it's easier said than done. It's a huge source of instability. It threatens to destabilize Asia more than any other part of the world. It's in their interest to resolve this. We hope to convince them to play a more active role.
remember there were
Let me pop over to this thing real quick on the Taiwan question.
Is the one critical...
I don't know that I'm going to play the whole thing, but this is a fascinating video. Very, very good.
This is the one critical material the U.S. has a monopoly on. Found in exactly one place on the Earth's surface, stop the ultra-pure form of this from flowing, and the world would slip backwards in time 25 years, which is why you don't hear much about it. Why the secrecy around it, how it's made, how to use it, are guarded like state secrets. To make 1 million iPhones, you need 250 pounds of it. Not a nice to have, not we'll figure something else out if we can't find it. Like Saudi Arabia's oil, China's rare earths, this is America's ace in the hole. Quartz. This is sand.
Did you know that? I did not know that.
This is sand. This is also sand. This could be sand. Aside from white tropical sand created by fish.
I mean, I knew chips are made out of sand, effectively, but I assumed sand is plentiful. But apparently not the quality of sand that you need.
Cheating coral or volcanic sand from worn down lava. Sand is quartz. Take this quartz crystal, crush it up. What comes out is what's in these piles. Zoom into one of the grains of sand in one of these piles, and you would see oxygen atoms sticking themselves to silicon atoms in a pyramid shape. Each pyramid tangled up with its neighbor. The tangle becomes a crystal called silica. Silica, being the main ingredient in concrete, is quite literally the foundation of our world. Concrete is not overly picky about the quality of its silica. A little bit of iron or magnesium tangled up in the crystal, mix it together with lime, add some water, pour it in a mold, let it cure, and you have concrete. But if you find yourself with pure silica, nothing else along for the ride, you, my friend, have found something exceptionally rare. Expect a knock on your door, because humans discovered long ago, if you apply enough heat to silica, it'll turn into glass. The more pure the silica, the clearer the glass. Far more recently, we discovered that if you want pure silicon, yes, that's silicon. If you want silicon, pure silica is the first thing you must find. The tank that fired first won 2/3 of the time, making the need to be able to see from inside the tank critical. With a field of view twice as wide as British or U.S. tanks, the lens on German tank sites often let German tank gunners see target and fire at enemy tanks before enemy tanks even knew they were there. Made big enough so a range-finding system could be printed onto an inner layer of the lens, Germans used just one sight when attacking. Gunners could sit in one station and look through a lens mounted next to the barrel of the gun. British and U.S. tanks used two. One whole periscope for looking around and spotting enemies, another for aiming the gun at them, forcing the commander to look through one to gauge distance, then yell to the gunner to aim and fire. Ugh. A one-lens system that helped Germany steamroll through France at the start of the war, and just 6 weeks after crossing the border, found themselves the captors of Paris and the world's prized silica mine, Fontainebleau, just 35 miles south. It was the purest silica the world had ever seen. Less pure silica and the larger, more high-powered the lens, the more distortion there is as you move away from the center of it. Rifle scopes, submarine periscopes, tank sights, bomb sights, radar tubes. Fontainebleau was the single mine the entire British glass industry relied on. Gone. So working at breakneck pace, two inferior silica deposits in the U.S. and the now famous Lochlean in Scotland, which would end up producing silica purer than Fontainebleau, were developed to feed the Allied war machine. Better late than never. By the midpoint of the war, the Allies had managed to catch up to Germany in glass production. But it wasn't until 2 years after the war that the hyper-pure silica that powers the entire modern world was discovered. Despite 80 years of scouring the planet, nowhere else on Earth has come close to rivaling what comes out of Spruce Pine, North Carolina. Fontainebleau is 99.7%, Lochlean 99.8%. Spruce Pine is a staggering 99.999% pure silica. It is impossible to make leading-edge semiconductors without the silica pulled out of spruce pine. Inside your phone, your laptop, weapons, every...
Suddenly Taiwan doesn't really quite seem so crucial.
server in every data center that powers AI...
I mean, it still is, but not quite.
Are semiconductors formed on little sections of pure silicon, called chips, because the little square they're all built on is chipped off a much larger block. It is how
that
much larger block of silicon is made that makes the quartz at Spruce Pine irreplaceable. Truly irreplaceable. And that is not hyperbole, which I have to say, because it's extremely rare to have a hypercritical global industry in the modern world rely on one little piece of land. This irreplaceable land is the choke point that could be used to determine which countries can make advanced chips and which can't. This is why China can't suddenly overtake the U.S. chip industry, why taking Taiwan does not guarantee China would suddenly be able to make high-end chips. Because if the U.S. stopped providing the quartz from spruce pine, Taiwan ceases to operate, full stop. But where is this connection between quartz and silicon? This old...
But that, of course, is, I mean, that's why they want it. It's like, it would end up in basically a stalemate. We'd have the materials, they would have the know-how in manufacturing. Of course, we can get that eventually. We can, with enough time, we can eventually get there and start producing the shit ourselves. Not the other way around, though.
Ultra-pure quartz, ultra-pure silica is turned into silicon? Not quite, actually. That is exactly what those who make silicon try to avoid. Pull apart your phone, and inside you'll see where the brain that powers your phone is. Inside of this casing right here is an advanced semiconductor that in a pristine state would look like this. Just 3 millimeters tall, a perfectly polished piece of pure silicon. Etched into it using a process that could be mistaken for magic are billions of tiny pathways, the width of each measured in atoms. We're talking 40, maybe 50 atoms wide for each path.
Literal alchemy.
A random iron or oxygen atom is baked into the silicon where an attempt to create one of these pathways is made. The pathway will not be made. Fail to create just one of the paths and the whole thing must be thrown out. To make a piece of silicon pure enough to power an iPhone, you must make sure that when silicon is melted down from its natural blocks and formed into a cylinder chips can be sliced from, the thing that's holding the melted silicon doesn't contaminate it. Silicon melts at 1300 degrees Celsius, 2400 degrees Fahrenheit. It's very hot. Just about anything that comes into contact with a pool of molten silicon will, at minimum, shed off little pieces of itself that mix with the melt. Each rod of pure silicon comes out of one of these, a crucible, made entirely out of quartz that comes from spruce pine. The quartz that comes from spruce pine, and only the quartz from spruce pine, must be used for every single one of these crucibles, because some of it will inevitably end up in the molten silicon. Boeing planes, iPhones, PlayStations, MRI machines, they all require at least one advanced chip that's been cut out of a silicon rod formed in a crucible made with quartz from spruce pine.
So not even just the chips themselves, it's like the actual crucible used to make them. It's fascinating.
This crucible is just 99.9% pure quartz, but just 3 inches wide. We're melting tin. I don't have the equipment, skills, or insurance to attempt silicon. Crucibles used to make silicon stand 3 to 5 feet tall. They're 2 to 3 feet across and can only be used one time. For every 1 million iPhones Apple sells, a crucible will be built, filled up with molten silicon, and destroyed by the process. Each chip in them starts out as silicon blocks that are melted inside the crucible.
This is wild.
A process so difficult to perfect, it's not considered science, but black art. Because you can't just let the molten silicon cool and pull it out. Can't pour it into something else for fear of contamination. A Polish engineer named Choreographed discovered using melted tin just like this, that if you dipped an object into the metal, pulled it out in just the right way, you could grow a metal cylinder. An atomically perfect metal cylinder that, in the case of silicon, can be sliced into circular discs 0.5 millimeter thick. A tiny, perfectly structured seed crystal is melted on the tip of a metal rod and then dipped down until it just touches the surface of the molten silicon. Pulled up at an excruciatingly slow pace, the rod rotates, the molten silicon clings to the seed, and as it cools, because it's touching the perfect seed crystal, arranges its atoms in that exact same perfect pattern. Performed by people known as master growers, how fast to spin and pull, how to manage the temperature, the gases surrounding it, everything that allows a perfect silicon ingot to be grown is not considered a true science.
Like I said, it's literally alchemy. It's crazy.
There is no manual, just a feel learned through decades of apprenticeship to masters of the craft. Can't patent it because you'd have to reveal how to do it. The operators rely on sound, smell, or color. Even the masters fail 20 to 30% of the time despite perfect settings. These are the traits of a black art, like how to make the blades inside every jet engine, grown from a single nickel crystal into one giant crystal, molecule by molecule using what's called the pigtail selector is known to a select few at GE, Pratt & Whitney, and Rolls-Royce, or the handful of people at Canon and Leica who know how to polish the highest end lenses used in cinematic cameras, or semiconductor
Yep.
equipment, the Takumi technique. Nobody has cracked the alchemy of 1623 that's let Zildjian, for 400 years, make the world's best symbols using ingredients that every metallurgist will tell you should produce metal so brittle it shatters when struck by a drumstick. 80% copper, 20% tin, with traces of silver. The process is only known by the CEO, delegating it out in parts to prevent anyone from...
How freaking crazy. I never knew that. Like, that is just so fascinating to me. That is so cool.
knowing the whole secret.
The mountains that run down the east coast of the
Anyway.
U.S. used to be taller than the Himalayas.
We'll stop there. That's the gist of everything, more or less. Pretty fascinating stuff. Had no idea. It's like right in our backyard. Might be some interesting bits at the end. Hold on.
It would spend as much electricity as needed. Figured out the black art of 11.9 silicon to cover every solar part of the moat between the U.S., Japan, South Korea, Taiwan on one side, China on the other. There is no black art in 9.9 silicon. It is a science, limited only by how much electricity you're willing to spend to turn silicon gas into crystals. China won the solar
This is for solar panels.
panel wars by deciding it would spend as much electricity as needed, feeding its solar industry free or nearly free electricity so they could make the tiles of 9.9 silicon that cover every solar panel cheap enough to undercut rival companies. Push the price down low enough and everyone else will go out of business. It worked. And loath to be beholden to the current kings of silicon, it is a play China is, without question, intent on running again for semiconductors once it's figured out the black art of 11.9 silicon. Stated by officials, outlined in plans, this is no secret. But in a twist of fate from 380 million years ago, regardless of who or what country wears the semiconductor crown, the most advanced piece of engineering humans have ever pulled off will, unless a miracle happens, always be tied to sand pulled out of the mountains around a small town in the United States.
Interesting, right? I'll drop the link to it. Guy does great, fantastic video. Very, very good. Okay, there we go. Yeah, a lot of this, a lot of modern technology really is kind of, well, as the saying goes, indistinguishable from magic. I mean, most people take that in a less literal sense, but I'm not so sure. I mean, I've seen some shit. That's part of it. But this modern foray into artificial intelligence and LLMs, there's a lot of weird stuff there too. If you want to dabble in that, I'm not going to do it now because it would just take too long, but try asking an AI sometime about the similarities between Kabbalah and transformer architecture. Where's a let me see if I can find a good picture to represent it. I don't see quite the one I'm looking for, but seriously, try asking an AI about that sometime. It'll get weird. And then if you want it to get really weird, start making comparisons with the story of Genesis. And well, I'll let your imagination kind of roll with that, but the creation story and programming language. and like how virtual worlds today would be created, say by a hypothetical like AI, some kind of super intelligence or something. It'll weird you out really quick. All right, where is my main page here? There we go.
Well, that's what you're hearing from Sean?
Yeah, so I talked to
Okay, she has agreed to the following wins for Trump on Iran: give U.S. anything Trump needs, buy more soybeans, buy more U.S. oil, buy more liquid natural gas, buy 200 Boeing jets.
We saw Scott Bessent.
Success, right, Ainsley? Well, that's what you're hearing from Sean?
Yeah, so I talked to Sean this morning because they're exactly, it's easy. They're 12 hours ahead. So it's 6 o'clock in the morning here. It's 6 p.m. there. So they're getting ready for the state dinner. You see Dina Powell there on the left. You see Marco Rubio. We saw Scott Bessent. So I talked to Sean this morning, and he just finished interviewing President Trump, and that's going to air fully on his show tonight. But I said, what were the takeaways? And he said that President Xi will help with Iran. He said, quote, whatever Trump needs. Committed to buy U.S. soybeans, more oil, LNG, which is the liquefied natural gas, and other energy. He agreed to buy 200 jets of the 737 MAX jets from Boeing. He said 200. Originally, it was 500. He surprised Xi, and he invited the president of China to go and meet with all of our U.S. CEOs, Lauren.
Success, right, Ainsley? Well, that's what you're hearing from Sean?
Yeah, so I talked to Sean this morning because they're exactly, it's easy. It's
of American independence. The over 300 million American people are reinvigorating the spirit of patriotism.
I cannot hear that for the life of me. That is like way too low.
Innovation and enterprise. Also, the 250th anniversary of American independence. The over 300 million American people are reinvigorating the spirit of patriotism, innovation, and enterprise, and ushering in a new journey for the development of the United States. The people of China and the United States are both great peoples. Achieving the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation and making America great again can go hand in hand. We can help each other succeed and advance the well-being of the whole world.
55年前 尼克松总统派基辛格博士访华。
Also, the 250th anniversary of America. All the friends present.
All the toast. I hear Trump actually took a drink.
And to the health of President Trump and all the friends present. Cheers.
干杯。
Cheers. And to the health of President Trump and all the friends present. Cheers. Most important bilateral relationship. Both believe that the China-US relationship is the most important bilateral relationship in the world. We must make it work and never mess it up. Both China and the United States stand to gain from cooperation and lose from confrontation. Our two countries should be partners rather than rivals. President Trump and I also agreed to build a constructive China-US relationship of strategic stability to promote the steady, sound, and sustainable development of China-US relations and bring more peace, prosperity, and progress to the world.
尊敬的特朗普总统先生、女士们、先生们、朋友们，纵观中美关系发展历程，能不能做到相互尊重、和平共处、合作共赢，是中美关系能否稳定发展的关键所在。当今世界变乱交织， 中美关系承载着两国17亿多人民的福祉。
I guess this is all in Chinese.
Operation of the over and win-win have looking back.
平稳前行。
Honorable President Donald J. Trump, ladies and gentlemen,
Honorable President.
friends, looking back at the court.
What does that remind me of? Some kung fu movie.
Of China-U.S. relations, whether or not we could have mutual
Honorable grandson. What is that from? Ah,
respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation
some anime or something. I don't know.
is the key to whether the relationship can advance steadily. The work
Oh, I remember now. I remember. It's Naruto. Right? Yes! Dead on. Yep, that was it. It was gonna piss me off if I didn't figure it out.
Well, thank you very much. This is a great...
Okay, here's Trump coming up on stage.
Well, thank you very much. This is a great honor. It was a fantastic day. And in particular, I want to thank President Xi, my friend, for this magnificent welcome. And it really was a magnificent welcome like none other. And for...
Man, oh man, is that just low as hell? I gotta jack my computer volume up for this.
For so graciously hosting us on this very historic state visit. We had extremely positive and productive conversations and meetings today with the Chinese delegation earlier. And this evening is another cherished opportunity to discuss among friends some of the things that we discussed today, all good for the United States and for China. And it was a great honor to be with you. Please.
感谢习近平主席。今天我们度过了非常美好的一天。首先要感谢习近平主席这一盛大的欢迎，那么也非常感谢在这一次历史性的国事访问当中非常慷慨地接待了我的代表团。那么今天早些时候，我们跟中方进行了富有成效以及具有建设性的对话。那今天晚上将是我们另外的一次机会，能够共同再次讨论我们今天早些时候已经。
The American and Chinese people goes all the way back to America's founding. The first American consul to China, Samuel Shaw, arrived on the first American trading ship to reach these shores in 1784.
Wow.
The Chinese merchants had a name for the Americans. They called their visions the New People.
Huh.
2.5 centuries later, that first connection has grown into one of the most consequential relationships in world history.
美国人民和中国。
美国人, I remember that one. That's American. Still remember that from 4 years of Chinese in high school. 美国人 and 中国人. That's Chinese person.
人民之间的友谊可以追溯到美国的建国之初。那么，美国的第一任驻华大使萨缪尔
Can't make a single word of the rest of that out though.
江先生在1784年乘坐第一艘美国的商船到达了中国的沿岸。
中国的 China's something that belongs to China.
当时中国的商人是这样称呼
The people of China.
到来的美国访客，他们将当
something America.
当时到来的
That's all I got.
From the beginning, our citizens have shared a deep sense of mutual respect. Founding Father Benjamin Franklin published the sayings of Confucius in his colonial newspaper.
That's right.
And today's sculpture, recognizing that ancient Chinese sage, is carved into the face of the United States Supreme Court very proudly.
从一开始， 我们两国之间的人民就已经有深厚的相互的尊重。美国的国父本杰明·富兰克林曾经在他的殖民报纸当中刊登了孔子的《论语》，而今天在美
President Franklin Roosevelt's mentions of the brave people of China, that's what they were, drew loud cheers in his speeches in the United States, and everybody loved what he had to say. Just as many Chinese now love basketball and blue jeans, Chinese restaurants in America today outnumber the 5 largest fast food chains in the United States, all combined. That's a pretty big statement.
那么，作为2战期间的盟国，罗斯福总统在美国的多次演讲当中提到了勇敢的中国人民。正如当前许多中国人非常喜欢篮球和穿蓝色的牛仔裤，在美国
250 years of commerce
还要多。
This bond of commerce and respect that stretches back 250 years is the foundation for a future that benefits both of our nations. The American and Chinese people share much in common. We value hard work, we value courage and achievement.
Sorry, one moment. All right.
President Xi, for this beautiful welcome, and tonight it is my honor to extend an invitation to you and Madam Peng to visit us at the White House this September 24th, and we look forward to it. And I'd now like to raise a glass and propose a toast to thank you.
Which he did.
Glass and propose a toast to the rich and enduring ties between the American and Chinese people. It's a very special relationship. And I want to thank you again. This has been an amazing period of time. Thank you, President Xi.
那么再一次感谢习主席，感谢这一美好的欢迎。那么今天晚上，我也想借此机会向您以及彭女士提出邀请，于9月24号邀请你们出访白宫。那我也希望，针对美国人民和中国人民之间深厚的以及持久的友谊，我提议我们进行举杯。那么我们这两国关系是非常独特的一项关系。
Thank you, everybody.
感谢。
Thank you, everybody.
There he goes.
感谢。
He did just a little bit.
Chinese companies.
Okay, here's the story on Nvidia.
The Commerce Department is
Let's see.
reportedly allowing 10 Chinese companies to buy Nvidia's H200
Well, she said it right.
chips. So what does this mean?
So they're giving them H200s, huh?
Nvidia's H200 chips. So what does this mean? Fox Business host Cheryl Tassoni is here with all the details. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi. Well, and, we saw Air Force One when they stopped to refuel in Alaska pick up Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang. And here you go. Here's the headline. Reuters exclusively reporting this morning that this H200 chip from Nvidia will be sold to 10 companies in China. Jensen Huang has said that he believes it's a $50 billion market for him. And what's the business? We'll leave it there. So that's one issue. Domestically, though, it is bipartisan. It is manufacturers, steelmakers, auto companies. They don't want the president to allow Chinese electric vehicles to be manufactured.
The Commerce Department is reportedly allowing 10 Chinese companies to buy Nvidia's H200 chips. So what does this mean? Fox Business
Okay,
host
there we go. I have to pipe that bot down here in a second.
Tour of the Forbidden Point here. When President Trump came here 9 years ago, he was given a personal tour of the Forbidden City by President Xi. You may
Oh, that's right.
That's not a big deal, but in China it is. And earlier today, President Xi gave him a personal tour of the Temple of Heaven, which is a revered site here in Beijing, China, one of its most famous. It's on the southern end of Tiananmen Square, a few miles from where we're sitting right now. And that was a first as well. And the reason you point this out is because the respect that Xi is trying to show President Trump is coming with the expectation that President Trump will in turn show the respect that President Xi expects in this relationship that he wants to see as a win-win.
The Temple of Heaven. Okay. Built in the 1400s. By the same emperor who was responsible for the construction of the Forbidden City. Interesting. Access. So I guess it's open to tourists, but he got the private tour. Interesting. All right.
And said they coincide what I think the president's going to be happy about. When the president came out and said we both agree, or it's been reported they both agree, Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. They both agree Iran should not control the Strait. And Ainsley's reporting that John, in his interview coming up, he'll say that they said whatever you need, help in Iran. But you know what? It looks like he's saying we're the two leaders. Let's find a way to get along. But you know who's having a really bad day in week or 2 weeks? Vladimir Putin. I mean, not only is he beginning to lose the war in Ukraine, he's seeing that special relationship that was supposed to realign the world go up in flames. Because at the very least, if we're just to look at the words of the leaders, they're looking to work together. Vladimir Putin's hope was to get China on their side and work together as a junior partner and isolate us. And I think the President Xi says, well, that's not going to happen.
Well, just a couple of things to add on that. There are reports that Russia hit Ukraine in the past 24 hours with 1,500 drones. If that is true and confirmed, that is a stunning number.
Okay. Oh, here's the little one.
Why is this an important trip, Mr. Ross?
Besant reveals not only is Iranian oil storage 100% full, they can't sell, but the soldiers are no longer getting paid.
What we're seeing is the loading facility, the main loading facility for Iranian oil is a facility called Karg Island. We've seen that there have been no loadings in the past 3 days. We believe their storage is full. None of the ships are getting out. None are coming in, so they're not able to store oil on the water, so they're going to start shutting down their...
You're going to have some unhappy soldiers before too long.
They're going to start shutting down their production. We can see that that's happening from satellite photos. But more importantly, Joe, exactly as you said, this is a diabolical regime. Thus far this year, they executed 30,000, 40,000 people, many of them peaceful protesters. And so how do you deal with a regime like that? You squeeze them economically, and we believe we're at the point where soldiers aren't getting paid. They're not able to replenish their weapon stocks from abroad. So I think that they are on their last legs, and the blockade, President Trump's blockade, has been a resounding success.
China is already committing to over the last day. Fox Business anchor David Asman trying to put the piece of the puzzle together. David, you've been tracking this. What do you think so far? Because I'm encouraged that we're talking about selling them oil and gas. And I spoke to the senator from Alaska yesterday, and he was telling me that they're looking to explore Alaska, which is a much shorter distance than the Strait of Hormuz.
Absolutely, it is, and it's with specific regard to the rare earths. I mean, drill baby drill. Donald Trump's policy about energy doesn't just deal with oil and oil products. It's also talking about the rare earths that we're hoping to develop here in the United States. Getting rid of a lot of the onerous federal regulations that happened were goosed up during the Biden administration. We saw them really roll out during the Obama administration. So we're way behind the curve in terms of doing that. But U.S. companies, with all of their ingenuity.
Good morning, Lucas.
Iran seized another vessel off the coast of the UAE.
Good morning.
It's a hell of a move to pull.
Guys, the British military says early this morning Iranian forces seized a ship off the coast of the UAE, 38 nautical miles offshore outside of the Strait of Hormuz, and that ship has been seen heading to Iranian waters. And she has been lastly moving the Iranian waters. Now, one of the central questions hanging over this summit is war between the U.S. and China inevitable in the future? As we heard from Jackie's reporting, it's the central thesis in Harvard professor Graham Allison's book, Destined for War. Can America and China escape the Thucydides trap? Something President Xi asked President Trump about during the summit. The concept of the book.
Oh, here's the little guy again. My son is learning Mandarin, Musk says. Ni hao. This kid, man. Just bounces everywhere. It's hilarious. I love it. It's just this best energy. It's so silly. Oh man. Oh boy. Humanoid robot workers employed in Beijing.
But first we give our food order to a very special worker.
Oh gosh.
This is the Family Mart convenience store in Beijing. Inside is a Galbot robot. The dominance of AI. Beijing is trying to lead the way in AI and also in humanoid robots. Let's go inside. This is the first of its kind for this kind of interaction. If you want to order something, hello, can I get a sausage, please?
Okay. 烤肠, 8.8 yuan.
This is the first of its kind, moving a little slow.
8.8 yuan? That's like nothing.
But Galbot is actually in 50 different pharmacies, warehouses, handling 300,000 orders around the country. This is the first of its kind here.
Creepy.
And they say there are going to be many different iterations. The question is, it's the same thing that the U.S. is dealing with. Will this replace human workers? Youth unemployment is increasing here, so there's a real big back and forth about how far this goes. But clearly, China wants to lead the way in this interaction. Thank you so much. Special report continues.
Creepy.
White House only.
White House Henri? So weird.
Is watching.
Creepy Chinese surveillance.
Is watching. There are literally cameras everywhere in Beijing. We are outside the Haidian station, and I can count at least 20 on this corner. In fact,
the freaking PTZ cam right there.
In Beijing, they've added 1,500 cameras just this year alone. They see everything. There's nobody jaywalking here because they could get
oh my gosh
right away. In fact, our driver parked illegally for 2 minutes, and he got a message on his phone that he got a ticket for about $40 US.
Dude, fuck that. Pardon me, but no.
Saw it on the camera. Now, there are real questions what the CCP's goal is about citizen tracking and social scoring. They say it's to make everybody feel safe.
Make everybody feel watched.
These cameras are watching every minute. They're everywhere. And while they're watching us here in China, we hope you continue to watch. Special report from Beijing.
Oh, good one. Good one, Brett.
Here. And one thing that's absolutely unmissable here in Beijing is the amount of security cameras they have. If you look around, you can sense some over there.
Dude!
Some over there. Some over there in the distance. Definitely all around us. One thing that's absolutely unmissable here in Beijing is the amount of security cameras they have.
Yeah, no thank you. Yeah.
Journey here in China to find the human. Finally tonight here, my journey here in China to find the humanoid robots putting the world on notice.
Oh gosh. Okay, David.
We land here in Beijing.
Show us the robots.
American flags and the Chinese for this high-stakes summit, where the global race to lead on artificial intelligence and robotics technology is on. And we go to find the robots. This AI developer conference, one of the biggest here in China.
Oh man.
You can see the future is walking right towards us. One of the humanoid robots here on display.
Kick it. Just kick it.
The conference. This
It'll be fine.
humanoid robot stands at 5'5". They call him Ollie. This robot weighs about 100.
Put a stick between it. Just jam a stick in there.
21 pounds. You're convinced this robot is going to be able to do chores in the family home?
Yes, yes.
It's bowing already. It's bowing already. You've taught the robot how to bow, but you think that's just the beginning. Yes, they tell us, proud to show us this. Through artificial intelligence, you've trained the robot to be able to lay down and then get back up. They program these robots with data on human movement. This robot weighs 121 pounds.
Wow, that's useful. I can think of so many use cases for that.
Laying completely down. And then sitting back up like a human. They consider this a major technical leap.
You have a waist, and that means makes him more flexible.
Oh, the waist.
The waist.
Yeah. It's all in the hips. And they tell me this is just a start, but what they've been able to do already is eye-opening. This is the G1 humanoid robot built by the Chinese robotics company Unitree. They have put the robot through extreme tests, walking through deep snow in northwestern China, freezing Arctic-level temperatures 53 degrees below zero.
Yikes.
That same robot on rollerblades.
On rollerblades?
And on ice skates, doing flips. And look at this, 50 of those robots in unison. And their newest model just this week, the GD01, transforming from 2 to 4 legs and able to carry a human.
Huh?
The U.S. is building robotics.
Whoa, okay, hold on. We have mecha suits now?
Just this week, the GD01 transforming from 2 to 4 legs and able to carry a human. The U.S. is building robotics too, but by some estimates, these Chinese humanoid robots now account for nearly 80% of sales worldwide. And we look for one of those Unitree G1 humanoid robots right here. So this is the robot that you've seen rollerblading, ice skating, testing temperatures, Arctic level temperatures. We go for a walk with the robot. It then performs martial arts and dance moves too.
And dance moves too. Oh my gosh. Oh, Rubio. Okay.
But my view of them and of the government in China is they're very confident. They have a plan and they're trying to execute on that plan, which is fine. I understand that from a nation-state perspective, but when that plan is in conflict with the national interest of the United States, we need to do what's right for the United States. And that'll come up on this trip, but more importantly, that'll be a feature of this relationship for a long time. But my view of them and of the government in China is they're very confident. They have a plan and they're trying to execute on that plan, which is fine. I understand that from a nation-state perspective, but when that plan is in conflict with the national interest of the United States, we need to do what's right for the United States. And that'll come up on this trip, but more importantly, that'll be a feature of this relationship for a long time. But my view of them and of the government in China is they're very confident. They have a plan and they're trying to execute on that plan.
It's all right. One moment.
geopolitically, and it's also the most important. It's both our top political challenge geopolitically, and it's also the most important relationship for us to manage. I mean, it's a big, powerful country. It's going to continue to grow, but we're going to have interests of ours that are going to be in conflict with interests of theirs. And to avoid wars and maintain peace and stability in the world, we're going to have to manage those. There are clearly areas where they're so important for the United States that we're going to have to raise those issues, and we'll continue to do so. The president's going to continue to do so. There might be some areas of cooperation, too, and we want to make sure we don't walk away from those.
You know, it's interesting. The one thing the president always says, he's America first. He understands President Xi is going to be China first, Putin will be Russia first. I think having that understanding is a little bit unique, historically speaking, as if we should be surprised that they put their country above ours.
Actually, foreign policy and national security matters work best when you understand that point. Every country should do what's in the best interest of their country. And then where there are areas of alignment, where what's in our best interest and their best interests are aligned, that's where you have cooperation, that's where you have alliances, that's where you have strong bonds of friendship. When there's conflict, that's between what they want and what we want. That's where the work of diplomacy and these personal relationships between the leaders are so critical. And there are times when some of those issues of conflict are irreconcilable. I think Iran is an example of that. The clerical regime wants to have a nuclear weapon, and the world, led by President Trump, says that's completely impossible, cannot happen. So, unfortunately, there's some areas like that where it comes up. But there are areas where if we can find areas of commonality, that's very powerful and important. But we will have to manage these bilateral differences because they're very significant. And when it's two big, powerful countries, you know, that falling apart could have tremendous significance on the global economy and on global peace.
Good answer.
It's both our...
The Secretary, do you have a sense on whether China will help with the Strait in what China has communicated to us about the Strait of Hormuz? And I mean, that's obviously important to them as well. Do you think they're going to help?
I think they're going to do what they can, and here China has a much bigger interest in reopening the strait than the U.S. does. China gets about a third of its energy needs from the Gulf, so a reopening of the strait benefits China. Unfortunately, they've been buying. They were the largest consumer of Iranian oil. They were buying about 90% of it. Iranian oil represented about 10% of their energy that they took in. But the rest of the countries in the Gulf were also substantial contributors, whether it was Saudi, UAE, Qatar, and China gets a substantial amount of their LNG from the Gulf also.
Oh, Senate has barred members from receiving paychecks when the government shuts down. Finally, they actually did it. U.S. Border Patrol Chief Michael Banks has retired effective immediately after 37 years of service. Wow.
Yeah, Harris, good morning to you. I just talked to
A lifer.
Chief Banks a few moments ago. He confirmed to me via a text message that yes, he is resigning from his position effective immediately. Now, a little color on him. He became U.S. Border Patrol Chief as soon as President Trump took office, and he has overseen the quietest border in U.S. history. Illegal crossings have plummeted to the lowest levels on record. Here's what he tells me in a statement, quote, "It's just time, man. I feel like I got the ship back on course from the least secure, disastrous, chaotic border to the most secure border in this
certainly done his job.
Country has ever seen. Time to pass the reins. 37 years. It's time to enjoy the family and life." Now,
I respect that.
with the great work he's done on the southern border, it didn't come without any controversy, of course. We remember back in Minnesota in January, the shooting and killing of Alex Preddy. That was U.S. Border Patrol agents. There was controversy about Border Patrol agents going into the interior of the country, essentially acting as ICE officer. Normally, they're within 100 miles of the border. The Trump administration had been using them to go into the interior of the country.
Wait.
This is heading into the Temple of Heaven here. So-called.
That's where people prayed to heaven.
We had the greatest. So I'm in China. We had the greatest CEOs in the whole world. We had about 30 of them, and they were pitching President Xi on doing business in China. I think they were successful. So I'm in.
All right.
Support of Iran. How big a discussion was that?
Interview with Sean Hannity airing tonight.
We discussed it. I mean, when you say support, they're not fighting a war with us or anything.
No.
He said he's not going to give military equipment. That's a big statement. He said that today. That's a big statement. He said that strongly. But at the same time, he said, you know, they buy a lot of their oil there, and they'd like to keep doing that.
So, support of Iran. How big a discussion was that today?
We just. He would like to see a deal made. She would like to see a deal made. He would like to see a deal made. And he did offer. He said, if I can be of any help at all, I would like to be of help. Because,
he did say that.
Yeah, he did say that. And
on Iran.
Look, anybody that buys that much oil has obviously got some kind of a relationship with him. But he said, I would love to be a help. If I can be of any help whatsoever, he'd like to see the Hormuz Strait open. He said, if I could be of any help whatsoever, I would like to help. She would like to see a deal made. He would like to see a deal made.
I have a good feeling about these.
Oh, here's Musk now.
I have a good feeling about these talks. I think there will be good results, is my guess.
Okay. Here's Jensen Huang.
Of course, and to come support President in one of the most important summits in human history. And the two presidents, President Xi and President Trump, have such a wonderful relationship. This is an incredible opportunity for us to rely on the relationships to build a much, much better partnership.
Did you get any specific customers for your chips for the H200?
We didn't really talk about. I'm here to support the president and to represent the United States.
What do you think of China's economic development right now?
I'm here to focus on one thing, just to represent the United States and supporting the president. Today's morning ceremony was very uplifting. President
He's being a good boy.
Xi was very inspiring, very welcoming, and President Trump was very inspiring, very welcoming as well. And so the two of them had
I actually generally like Huang.
Excellent. Thank you.
As far as the tech CEOs go, yeah. I'd much rather go with him than, you know, Dario or Sam Altman or, you know, that whole lot. I actually like Jensen.
Any regulatory?
About Chinese market.
Of course.
Quite a room.
Committees become increasingly concerned.
Ah, is this the Virginia pardon me, asshole loser? Steve Descano, scumbag. He's the Commonwealth attorney here in Fairfax County. Real dirtbag.
This subcommittee's become increasingly concerned with so-called sanctuary policies in which local or state law enforcement simply refuses to transfer illegal aliens who are already in their custody to federal authorities for deportation, or at the very least notify federal authorities about a criminal's release. Instead, these jurisdictions release these criminals back into our communities, often with devastating consequences. The doctrine of nullification, first propounded by John C. Calhoun, holds that local or state governments may simply ignore federal laws that they disagree with. This doctrine, fatal to a federal republic, was thought to have died with the Confederacy. These nullification or sanctuary jurisdictions now extend to 11 states, coincidentally the same number as the old Confederacy. Fairfax County has become an epicenter of this movement. Its Commonwealth's attorney boasted that he, quote, will make charging and plea decisions that limit or avoid immigration consequences. He wrote, quote, if two people commit the same crime but only one's punishment includes deportation, that's a perversion of justice, end quote. Thus, an illegal alien would be charged with a lesser crime than an American citizen in order to protect that illegal alien from deportation. That is the true perversion of equal justice under law and has now prompted an investigation by the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. Fairfax County Sheriff takes a similar position that her office, quote, will not detain an individual based on an informal request or detainer. Instead of safely allowing ICE to return that criminal to his own country, as federal law requires, she prefers to release him back onto her community's streets. Ironically, both claim this is to foster trust between residents and law enforcement. This begs the obvious question, can residents trust law enforcement to protect them and their families? A long list of violent crimes perpetrated by criminal illegal aliens that these officials had in their custody and refused to prosecute and refused to remove from their communities answers this question with poignancy. The most recent case is the tragic and entirely preventable murder of Stephanie Minter, the young lady stabbed to death as she waited for a bus. Her accused murderer is Abdul Jola, illegally present in the United States. Since 2022, Jola's criminal history has included trespass, disorderly conduct, drug possession, theft, larceny, and repeated arrest for malicious wounding. Between January of 2023 and February of 2026, he had been arrested at least 18 times. Commonwealth's attorney Descano dismissed almost all of these charges. At least once, Sheriff Kincaid, instead of informing ICE that she was in custody so that he could be deported, and despite a detainer request from DHS to do so, deliberately released him back onto Fairfax County streets.
Unbelievable.
Last year, the Fairfax County Police Department became so alarmed at these decisions that they took the extraordinary step of warning Descanso that Jola had, quote, stabbed multiple people, sexually assaulted at least one woman, and committed numerous other criminal offenses. The police then issued this grim prophecy. It is not a question of if, but rather when he will maliciously wound or worse again. Well, the when came on February 23rd. That's the
of course.
Day this monster is accused of hacking Stephanie Minter to death. She was 41 years old.
Steve Descano ought to pay the same price that this criminal ought to have paid.
She leaves behind
He's directly responsible, as far as I'm concerned. Him and everyone else like him.
A grieving family. Now, Sheriff Kincaid says she doesn't have the budget to call ICE to pick up such criminals before she releases them back onto the streets. Well, that begs the question, how much does a phone call to ICE cost? And what was the cost to the Minter family of not making that call? Nor is this an isolated incident. There's a growing list of other criminal illegal aliens who these authorities had in custody and released back onto the streets instead of making a simple phone call to ICE to pick this person up. It includes illegal aliens who had their charges reduced or even dropped altogether, despite crimes ranging from child sex offenses to murder. Of the 7 homicides in Fairfax County last year, 3 were committed by illegal aliens who could have been deported before they committed these crimes. Mr. Descanso's empty claim to be the safest city of its size in the country rings hollow against this reality. Just as Stephanie Minter's murder wasn't an isolated event in Fairfax County, neither is Fairfax County an isolated example in our country. This utter dereliction of duty is rampant across jurisdictions the Democrats control, including my state of California, where the Tulare sheriff recently testified that fully half of the crimes he's dealing with involve illegal aliens. Yet state law forbids him from cooperating with ICE because the Democrats don't want to enforce our immigration laws, even against criminals in custody. To most Americans, these policies seem reckless, dangerous, crazy, wanton, and cruel. Today, this subcommittee seeks to understand how elected officials entrusted with the sacred responsibility to protect innocent and law-abiding residents would deliberately act in this manner. We will soon hear their rationale. We'll hear from witnesses the Democrats have chosen in support of these policies. And we'll also hear from the former Attorney General of Virginia and the president of Virginians for Safe Communities, who take a very different view. And finally, we'll hear from Stephanie's mother, who has bravely come here today to provide a victim's statement of the toll these policies have taken on her family, and who offers a grim warning to all Americans of what could happen to them at any time where these dangerous policies are practiced.
Insane, man. I'm tired of this shit. More from the same hearing? Different one. Yeah, they're on the way out. Long day.
Address homelessness actually works.
Oh, this bitch. Oh, jeez. Can't do it. Trump Education Secretary Linda McMahon has officially blocked $60 million in fraudulent student loan applications. Good. More where that came from, guarantee you. Armed Services Committee hearing today too. Jeez, whole bunch going on.
Their capability have been significantly degraded. If I just use my own professional experience, in 100 transits through the Strait of Hormuz, you would typically see 20 to 40 fast boats, and lately we've seen 2 or 3. Their capability have been significantly degraded. If I just use my own professional.
Kamala is now calling for Democrats to hold a no bad idea brainstorm. Yeah, her, the queen of no bad idea.
Say, look, this is a moment where there are no bad ideas, no bad
I beg to differ, ma'am.
idea brainstorm is what I'd like to call it. And in that no bad ideas brainstorm, we talk about what we need to do and think about doing around the Electoral College. We talk about the idea of Supreme Court reform, which includes expanding the Supreme Court.
Pack the court. Mm-hmm.
We invite a conversation about multi-members districts. We talk about, look, that if we win the Senate, which we should and we will, then the Senate Judiciary Committee should have rules that they put in place so when these people come before as nominees to the Supreme Court and lie, that they are held to account and consequence. Not just that somebody goes on cable news and says they lied, but that there are rules in place to actually penalize people for lying to a Senate Judiciary Committee. That we agree that it is right to have ethics rules for Supreme Court justices. And let's put those in place. Let's talk about statehood for Puerto Rico and D.C. These are the things I think that we've got to do. We've got to neutralize these red states from cheating.
We've got to neutralize word salad and women in politics.
Including blue states expanding their maps. And all of this, I think...
Device was found under a grenade-type explosive device was found underwater at Big Creek.
Oh yeah, I want to know more about this one. Like what?
Their primary drinking water supply for the Mobile area. The Mobile area water and sewer system, Ma is saying.
Seen lots of big deals made about this today.
Divers found this improvised explosive device while surveying the lake's dam for routine repairs.
Like what? How did this get there?
A multi-agency bomb squad team, including the FBI, Mobile County Sheriff's Office.
And what is it exactly? They've been so non-specific about what the F the thing actually is. Like an IED, a grenade type. Grenade.
Grenade type.
Grenade. What does that even mean? Is it a grenade or isn't it?
Explosive device was found underwater, and state law enforcement retrieved and safely destroyed it, as you just saw. Moz says the drinking water supply was not affected. Big Creek Lake is
Whatever it was, it sounds like it was like tiny and wouldn't have been nearly big enough to do anything. I mean, look how big this fucking thing is. It's gigantic. What is a little piddly grenade type explosive really gonna do?
the primary drinking water supply for the Mobile area.
Especially in this location. This doesn't seem like a terror attack kind of thing to me, which I know a lot of people were probably initially freaking out about. It seems more to me like a... I don't even know, like... Did some kind of authorities operating in the area lose the freaking thing? Like, were they doing training exercises and lose the dang thing? What, and again, what even was it? Was it an actual IED? Like an improvised device? Or was it a grenade type?
Infrastructure and Homeland Security has been notified. We're trying to find out where the IED came from, if it's been there for some time, or if investigators think it was placed there.
And if it wasn't, then how did it get there?
Grenade-type explosive device was found under...
Yeah, what? Yeah, the whole thing just bizarre.
Political party.
Oh, this moron's out in front of the cameras again. Fat George.
We now have a Republican Party that isn't a political party anymore, but it was a cult. I left it in 2018 because it seemed like a cult then. It was nothing compared to what it is today. And, you know, a party that where, you know, they want to determine the outcome of media transactions. They want to they want to control 10% of intel. The government is just taking people off the street.
I don't think anyone wants that, but Intel fucking sucks. They've run themselves into the shitter.
It's without due process. I mean, it is just so beyond anything that could it is not even, it's not even conservative anymore. The conservatives today are really the Democrats who are
What's that make you then?
Trying to conserve the institutions of our republic. We now have
it's all over the place, this guy. Okay, Neil McCabe. Oh yeah, this whole stupid ass bullshit with the Tulsi and the CIA, like this whole fucking thing just seemed like nonsense right from the get-go. So this spun out last night. These claims that the CIA had raided the ODNI and like taken a bunch of COVID something documents or something. I forget exactly what, but like it's garbage. Like the ODNI runs the CIA. They are in charge of the CIA. They don't. It's not how that goes. The whole thing just seemed weird. Right off the bat. It was quickly followed by retractions from Luna, who it seemed to originate from. Sketchy lady, if you ask me. Especially after all that UFO bullshit she's been sharding out there the last 2 weeks. Yeah, now we have this. Conveniently, right as Trump is, you know, on the other side of the world, in the midst of one of the most important meetings of both of his administrations. Great timing, Luna. Bit suspect. We have anything on that here?
So the idea that, some CIA team, paramilitaries in full battle rattle, guns drawn, raided Tulsi Gabbard's office or facilities, that did not happen. But what did happen is that there were materials held at the office of the Director of National Intelligence. They were set aside. It's my understanding that they were waiting for the declassification team to get to them, and there were CIA personnel who had the access codes for that storage facility, and they went ahead and took those documents back from the office of the National Director, from Tulsi Gabbard.
After they had been copied, as I understand, like what's the big deal?
And then took it back. And so now, obviously that's a big deal because the CIA works for Gabbard, but it wasn't a raid, but it's very significant that they would just go ahead and take stuff back. So
I don't know, man. Maybe there's more detail that's come out today. We'll see. DNI Gabbard's spokesperson denies the CIA raided their office to seize files following the... Oh, yeah. Then there was that whole CIA whistleblower that looked like a lesbian with a beard. Post-op. I don't know, man. The whole thing just seemed off. Xi Jinping committing to order 200 large Boeing jets. Oh, now we get more on Fairfax County. Here we go.
County, Virginia is one of the most egregious sanctuary jurisdictions they have to deal with anywhere in the entire country. And this morning, the Fairfax County Sheriff and the Fairfax County DA are both going to get a grilling from lawmakers right here on the Hill. Fairfax County, Virginia Sheriff Stacey Kincaid and Fairfax County Commonwealth Attorney Steve Toscano will both testify before a House Judiciary panel any minute now. That's where Republicans are expected to pin them down over recent headlines there. A handful of illegal aliens have already been arrested for multiple murders so far this year in Fairfax County. That includes Abdul Jallo, an illegal alien accused of
Oh, he looks nice.
randomly stabbing Stephanie Minter to death at a Virginia bus stop. Jallo had more than 24 prior arrests. DA Toscano had dropped multiple of his prior charges, and there was zero cooperation with ICE whatsoever. Stephanie Minter's mom will be testifying about Fairfax County sanctuary policies before this committee this morning, and Republicans and Democrats see these sanctuary policies very differently.
I was just curious.
Nadler dodging questions after the sanctuary policy hearing.
Lindell TV. I was just curious to get your thoughts
Can't
on
hear a single word.
prioritizing criminal aliens over American citizens at the sanctuary policy hearing. Do you have any comment?
It's probably coming out of my bad speaker.
We're going to keep going.
Hopefully you guys can hear that.
How many more American citizens have to die before we change these policies? If Fairfax County is so safe, then why
Waddle.
has it released over 1,000 criminal aliens with ICE since 2022?
Newsom's former chief of staff pleads guilty to money laundering and tax fraud.
Do you have any comment, Ms. Williams?
Excuse us.
Excuse me.
Do you have anything to say at all?
Ms. Williamson, do you have anything to say to Javier Becerra right now? Wanting for Trump against you, alleging you and the people of California, Ms. Williamson. Governor Gavin Newsom be concerned, Ms. Williamson. Get out. Governor Gavin Newsom be concerned.
Get out of the right way. Do you have any comment, Ms. Williamson?
Excuse us. Do
you have anything to say at all?
Ms. Williamson, do you have anything to say to Javier Becerra right now? Wanting for Trump against you, alleging.
Good morning. For years, Legacy Immigra promoted itself as a full-service agency whose attorneys handle
fraud. 20 million in fraud.
Immigration and asylum claims for undocumented immigrants seeking lawful status in the United States. Instead, Wagner Soares de Alameda, his wife Juliana Colucci, and their associates amassed more than $20 million while profiting from those in our community least able to defend themselves.
Illegals.
They basically got rich through a business model built on manipulation, fraud, lies, and extortion. And the majority of their clients, most of whom are Brazilian nationals, got no closer to realizing their dreams of becoming Americans. The Orange County Sheriff's Office, working in conjunction with Homeland Security and the Florida Attorney General's Office, took down this criminal enterprise this week. Its founder, Wagner Soares de Alameda, and 3 of his associates have been arrested in this case and face charges of racketeering, organized fraud, extortion, and unauthorized practice of law. So this case came to our agent's attention in September when an attorney from the Florida bar reached out saying they had received multiple complaints involving Legacy Immigra. The complaints alleged that Legacy was conducting a coordinated scheme to defraud undocumented immigrants by falsely claiming they were qualified immigration attorneys and charging significant fees for fraudulent or improperly filed applications. The 7 victims that have cooperated with the investigation so far are from Florida, South Carolina, Connecticut, and New Jersey, and we believe there are many more. That's one of the reasons we're doing this press conference. So our victims in this case each lost between $2,500 and as much as $26,000. The victims told our agents that once they were financially committed and began making payments, Legacy Immigra escalated its control. Legacy created email accounts in the victims' names without their knowledge or consent, and then withheld documents and told victims they would not receive their paperwork and unless they paid additional money. So the withholding of the immigration documents was used as leverage to force payment, exploiting the victim's fear of removal from the United States. So the criminal enterprise made de Alameda very rich. So financial records and statements revealed that over the last 3 years, Legacy has amassed more than $20 million in ill-gotten proceeds while victimizing hundreds of people. So I want to thank our agents from our...
Jeez, man. All right. Oh, Zelensky ex-top aide arrested as Ukraine graft probe widens. Chief of staff? Is that what I saw there? Former right-hand man taken into custody on Thursday on money laundering charges, part of a fight against graft that is fueling wartime political tensions. Andriy Yermak, yep. Wow. Accused of laundering over $10 million.
More obvious than in our unemployment insurance system.
Oh, okay, here we go. In Maine, what's his name here? Acting Secretary Keith Sonderling, acting Secretary of Labor, lays out some examples of fraud and waste uncovered by the White House Fraud Task Force.
And nowhere was government failure more obvious than in our unemployment insurance system. During the pandemic, what started as emergency relief for hard-working Americans became one of the largest taxpayer dollar frauds in modern history. So $888 billion in unemployment benefits were paid during that time, but guess what? It's estimated as much as $135 billion of that may have been stolen through fraud. Think about that. $135 billion of your money gone. That was meant for you. That was meant for your families. It was meant for hard-working Americans. But instead, criminals, fraud rings, and overseas scammers took this money. But now, due to Vice President's leadership and his task force, we are working every day to make sure that never happens, to get that money back and hold those accountable with law enforcement. Since the task force began, we've already uncovered widespread fraud and are aggressively preventing it from ever happening again. So here's some examples. We found that nearly $29 billion went to the same Social Security numbers across multiple states. Oh, hold on. I got better ones. 139 million got sent to dead people.
Oh.
All right, ready for another one? All right, this is a good one. $1 billion was sent to children under the age of 14 seeking unemployment insurance. Under 14, that doesn't work because they can't work. So it got so bad that as much as $17 billion in fraud may have gone out in a single month. We learned that our systems were overwhelmed and exploited. And who got stuck with the bill? All you, yeah. The taxpayers. Maine is a smart group because Maine knows all too well about these pandemic uninsurance programs. More than $93 million in overpayments were put on the books here in Maine. And barely $7 million has been recovered. But that's changing. Thanks to the Vice President, paying benefits first and verifying later never works. We must prevent fraud before it happens. And President Trump and Vice President Vance looked at this disaster and said, not in this administration.
What a mess.
Work hard because you do things. Because you all work hard, because you all pay your taxes, because you do things the right way, it is time to have leadership in Washington that treats you the right way and protects those hard-earned tax dollars. When the President of the United States said, JD, we've got a fraud problem and I want you to tackle it, I was so proud and so happy to be able to do it because I realized that fraud isn't just about saving money. It's not just about protecting taxpayers, it's about protecting you. The money is sent to the government and the services that you rely on. So for once, for the first time in a very long time, you've got an administration in Washington, D.C. that is fighting for you, fighting to protect your tax dollars, and fighting to put the fraudsters in prison, which is where they belong. Because you all work hard, because you all pay your taxes, because you do things the right way. So here's the thing that I've learned in fighting fraud for the last few months and focus on this issue is that fraud is the ultimate non-victimless crime. There are multiple victims in fraud. What we think about when somebody steals your tax dollars and goes and spends it on something it's not supposed to be spent on, we think of you all as the victims, the American taxpayer, the Maine taxpayer, the people who wake up, who go to work, who do what they're supposed to do and don't want their money stolen by people who are doing the opposite of what they're supposed to do. You were the first victim of fraud. But you know what else I've realized is that you're not the only victim of fraud. Because when people steal your money and it doesn't go to where it's supposed to go, there are a lot of people who are out there who are suffering in the process. And I'm talking about physicians who are denied their Medicaid reimbursements because a fraudster stole their identity and charged for services that weren't actually being provided. I'm talking about the good doctors who do what they're supposed to and don't like it when corrupt healthcare providers go and claim services that aren't even necessary. So then the victim is the doctor that gets stolen from, it's the taxpayer that gets stolen from, but it's also the innocent patient who should be able to know that when their doctor prescribes something, it's meant for them and it's good for them. I'm talking about the construction worker who can't buy a cell phone because when an illegal alien goes and steals their identity and applies for SNAP benefits, now all of a sudden they're tagged in the banking system, their credit score is ruined. Not because they did a single thing wrong, but because somebody stole their identity. Fraud is exactly what happens when you've got a government that is not fighting for the American people, but is fighting for fraudsters and illegal aliens, and it had to stop. And under the Trump administration, we are fighting it every single day. And again, it is every single day day, I learn of something new. I learn about people who say that they're claiming for hospice services, but in fact, they're not providing any services, and they're making hundreds of millions or billions of dollars in the process. Talk about something that we've seen in Minneapolis, but also in Maine. We have seen people go out there and say that they're providing services to autistic children, when in reality, they maybe don't have any children at all, or they certainly don't have autistic children. So they get paid millions and millions of your dollars to provide services that they're not actually providing. And oh, by the way, what happened to the autistic children and their families who actually need those services and need a competent government to ensure that they're doing the right thing? My friends, this has gone on for far too long. You have been fleeced by your own government for far too long, and we are stopping it every single day.
Okay.
Here's the difference, though.
Let's skip forward a little more. Oh, nice.
Work with the federal government. Do you like having a state governor who doesn't work with the federal government to
Tim Waltz.
fight against fraud? So let's kick Janet Mills to the curb. And let's send
This is in Maine, sorry.
Paul LePage to Washington to help us fight the fraudsters and protect all of you.
Send him to Gitmo, someone just yelled.
This guy just said, send him to Gitmo. No comment, sir, but I kind of like sending the fraudsters to Gitmo. We got to get him out of this country, and we got to get him in prison. Here's the thing.
Nice. DNI denies report that the CIA raided Tulsi Gabbard's office to seize documents related to JFK and MK Ultra. Yeah, Rep Luna. Something very off there. I've been saying it for a while. It's really, really bubbling to the surface now. Supreme Court ruled unanimously that freight brokers can be held liable for negligently hiring unsafe trucking companies. All of the Sings of the world out there. Oh my goodness.
You are misrepresenting my policies. My policies do not say that we do not.
Scumbag Descano, Fairfax County.
Exactly what we're talking about. This is in relation to the website and the statement that he just took down weeks ago.
Scumbag.
You are misrepresenting my policies. My policies do not say that we do not prosecute people.
Well, if you're proud of your policies, why'd you change your website?
Because that's not my policy. As I told you, sir, that is a campaign statement that I made before I was Commonwealth.
It had been up for 6 years. A week after we send you a letter saying we want you to come testify, shazam, you change it.
Oh, there it goes.
Because I could not.
Is that coincidental?
Because I could not believe that people were so obtuse that they could not realize what the difference between a campaign statement and an actual office policy is.
So that's why you changed the policy.
So he promised this during the campaign, that these are the policies that he would pursue. And now he's saying, oh no, that was just a campaign statement. That's not my policy. Who's he?
Unbelievable.
Essentially, Steve Descano was saying my voters were just dumb, I guess. I don't understand that. But let's be clear. This has everything to do
Boy, oh
with
boy, by the way, does he look creepy as hell or what?
being subpoenaed
Pasty,
and the fact
slimy, clammy.
there's an active civil rights investigation by the Department of Justice. Thank God, because what he has been doing with this
And there's something about those eyes that is just fucking unsettling.
policy is treating
Dead.
illegal immigrants with more deference and giving them a benefit that he does not give to an average American citizen. We saw that
Not unlike all of his friends here, actually.
his testimony, numerous cases where he under-prosecuted, he dropped charges, including a case of someone that had abducted a child. He dropped these charges. We've seen it over and over again. It is a catch and release program. And again, Steve Descano is literally failing at his job. And
Okay, anything last minute here? Secret Service. Yeah, we saw that. Secret Service. Trump's team reportedly using temporary phones during their visit to China. Interesting.
Report U.S. officials.
Not surprised, though. Gotta be careful. Okay. What's this?
Corporation to
CBS News, who cares? All right, well, I suppose that about does it. I think we're at the top of the hour here, and there's Vicky. How you doing?
Good, good. How are you today?
Doing pretty good, too.
Excellent show. That was so good. When you were doing that silicone stuff.
Isn't that interesting stuff? Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I want to go back and watch the whole thing. It was amazing.
Yeah. That stuff fascinates me. Yep.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. Well, I will pop out here and let you get to it, my dear.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good evening.
I will. Have a good show.
All right. Thank you, hon.
See ya.
Hey, Chad. I am in.
All right, YouTube. That's it for me. I'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning. So come catch me then. 9 a.m. Eastern to 11. We'll go over whatever the tail end of all this China business is. I don't know when he's scheduled to come back or what, but I'm sure we'll have plenty more to talk about. So I will see you guys bright and early. Bye-bye.